Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sheer Strikes podcast. My name is Eric Sheer, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. And I'm very, very sorry that it's been so long. That's what I want to start with. I apologize that it's been all of last season. Actually, I didn't really do one of these last season at all. I just graduated from college this past December, and it was a little too far into the season. I just started a new job right after I graduated in in this field. I'm hoping to eventually move into the sports realm full time um, as a sports reporter, but we'll see kind of where the journey of life takes me. However, the journey of life for the Tampa Bay Lightning last season saw them losing the first round to the eventual Stanley Cup champions and the Florida Panthers. Obviously, I'm going to congratulate them. They were a fantastic team all season, and I think that they deserved it 100%. It was a great Stanley Cup final of them versus Edmonton. Edmonton coming back from 3 games down. Very, very inspiring. I feel bad for McDavid, though, obviously going for his first cup to kind of, you know, build his legacy a little bit more than it already is, maybe a team award. That being said, the Lightning had a very, very busy offseason and a very emotional offseason for sure. A couple things really stick out to me in terms of the offseason for the Lightning. As a friend of former, now defenseman, Mikhail Sergachev, this one hurt a lot. But we're going to start a little bit back right after, not right after, but after we left the playoffs a little bit earlier than usual for us Lightning fans. We re-signed forward Mitchell Chaffee to a 2-year one-way contract. So obviously he's made the roster this season, and I really liked what he brought to to the team last year. And I think that having that as it is a great way for him to kind of get things going and hopefully take a bigger step this year. Especially, we're going to need him to take a bigger step this year. Our depth scoring is going to have to kind of show up pretty big here. It's going to be a big test to see kind of can those bottom six players kind of jump into that role that we need them to and kind of give us more scoring. Nico Huhtinen signed his entry level deal, his 3-year entry level contract, which was wonderful. May 16th, we're going to go all the way back to May 16th. We reacquired a former defenseman and 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the team, Ryan McDonagh, and a 4th-round draft pick in this past draft, the 2024 draft, from the Nashville Predators in exchange for both a 2nd-round pick in 2025 and a 7th-round pick in this past 2024 draft. I like the trade. McDonagh had a big cap, so when I saw the trade come out originally, I was like, man, I really wonder if they retained something or anything like that. No retention. And obviously, Lightning fans now obviously realize that Stamkos is not there. And at the time, I was like, how are we going to be able to re-sign him? We just added a lot of cap. Um, but to each their own. Then the next day, we went and signed defenseman Dylan Gill to his entry level contract. Living in Syracuse, I've seen him play a couple games here already with the Crunch. Really like him. I think he's going to bring a lot to the team. Um, Very, very excited to see what he does with the Crunch and kind of see how he develops. His first professional game in the regular season for the Syracuse Crunch, he scored 2 goals against the Utica Comets. I was at the game. Both goals were fantastic. I'm very, very high on him. I'm hoping that he can turn into a full-time NHL defenseman eventually. We also re-signed Declan Carlisle in June to a 2-year two-way contract. Gage Gonsalves signed him to a 1-year two-way contract, and Gabriel Fortier to a 1-year two-way contract. All of those players are now in the American Hockey League with the Syracuse Crunch. Carlisle is playing. He actually wore the assistant captain letter on his jersey in the first 2 games. That because Fortier, who would be their assistant captain, and Daniel Wolcott, both injured, as well as Syracuse Crunch captain Gabriel Dumont, all are hurt, along with Jack Finley. So the Crunch are going to need to have some of the older guys take on more of a leadership role, and I think Carlisle is a guy to do that. And Gage Gonsalves actually was hurt in the preseason up with Tampa, but he is now down with the Crunch, injured, so he has not played yet. My favorite trade this offseason was acquiring a fourth round pick, which ended up being the 118th pick overall in the 2024 draft, and a second round pick in the 2025 draft from the LA Kings in exchange for forward Tanner Jeannot. Now, if you remember years back when we traded him or traded for him from Nashville, he was having a great season. He was scoring a lot, and I think that he can do that. I just don't think that the Lightning were the right organization for him. And I wish him the best. And he was a phenomenal fighter. He would lay the body out. I think he will be a great player. I just don't think that the Lightning were what was going to make him take the next step. It's unfortunate how much draft capital we gave up along with, Cal Foot, but look at what happened to Cal Foot. He's in some pretty big legal issues right now, so I'm not too upset about that. Um, and also on that same day, we acquired defenseman JJ Moser, forward prospect, but now we'll get into him a little bit. Connor Geekie and a seventh round pick in this past draft, which was the 119th pick, and a second round pick in 2025 from the Utah Hockey Club in exchange for defenseman Mikhail Sergachev. Um, this one hurt me a lot. I liked the return a lot. I like Moser, young defenseman, still has a lot of room to grow, but younger. Connor Geekie, the biggest piece of the trade. A center, a big center who is a physical center who can shoot. He's a good two-way player, um, who already has slotted into the power play a little bit. Um, getting the seventh round pick is whatever, and then, but actually it's not whatever because the Lightning are very good with later picks. But we'll see. Obviously, who knows if the guy that they picked will pan out. And the second round pick is great. It also kind of replenishes for what we gave up for Jeannot years ago. But Mikhail was personal. Obviously, if you follow me on any social media, Mikhail and I have a good friendship together. He is, you know, with my adoption fundraisers, he donated a game used Stanley Cup final stick. He he invited myself, Betty, my friend, my very close friend who was brought to me because of Mikhail, and her husband Mark to a game down in Tampa, and he gave us tickets to the down on like in the family section, and gave me a stick from his 400th game, and then before the Bolts on Board cruise, he gave Mark, Betty, my dad, and I tickets in the club, and we had all we could eat and drink, and that was when he was hurt. And last year obviously didn't go his way. He was injured, um, had a lower body injury, and then obviously everybody knows what happened. He broke both bones in his leg um, against the Rangers. The game he came back, not even two periods into his return. Um, and then he made it back for two games of the playoffs, and that is something I'll never forget. Is being able to watch him come out and take that step and get that ovation from the crowd. Like it was, I can't even imagine what that felt like for him being a friend of his and a fan of his. That was really cool to see. And made you appreciate the fan base. And another reason why I love this organization is because the fans get it. That being said, I'm it's bittersweet because I think that Mikhail will take that next step with Utah. He was never going to be that number one guy until Hedman leaves, right? Because Heddy's the guy, and he has been the guy, and he will be the guy. So Mikhail was never going to get that chance to shine behind Hedman until his prime was already passed. And I think that at 26 years old, going into a new franchise with Utah, who's hungry, they're they're angry. They just got kicked out of Arizona. They added a lot of pieces. Mikhail obviously being the biggest one, a winner. I'm very, very hopeful for him, and obviously my loyalty will always be with the Lightning, but deep down I'm always now I'm gonna I'm gonna follow Utah. I'm gonna, cheer him on and root for him and hope that, they get some success with him. But obviously whenever they play each other, go Bolts, of course. But I'm going down to his home return, or his homecoming, as well as the game when he comes to Buffalo, which is obviously close to me. That one December 7th, and his homecoming is March 27th. So very excited for both of those. Obviously, Mikhail, if you're watching this, um, I wish you the best. I am already excited for what you've done so far with with Utah, um, and I cannot wait to see you carry them to the playoffs. That being said, we also made a trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins to acquire Lukas Savkowski, from Pittsburgh in exchange for forward Bennett MacArthur. More of a minor, like an AHL trade, nothing huge. We also made a trade with the Carolina Hurricanes for the rights to sign Jake Gensel for a 2025 third round pick. Obviously panned out, signed Gensel to a big, big contract, and at that point, I think all of us knew um, Steven Stamkos also departed the team. That one's tough too. Um, Stammer is one of the reasons why I became a Lightning fan in the first place. He is a phenomenal, well-rounded player. Aging for sure, but he's still putting up big numbers, and this one hurts a lot. Seeing him in a Nashville jersey, like you're seeing right now, if you're able to watch the podcast, it hurts. It hurts a lot, and it doesn't look right. But I'm very, very excited for Gensel to join the team. Him with Point and Cooch seemingly is going to be a great line. But seeing Stamkos go to Nashville hurts a lot, and obviously I wish him the best, and I can't wait for him to come back in just about 2 weeks. He comes back on October 28th. He'll be back in Tampa, and I can't wait to see it. So, Sammer, if you're listening to this, thank you for everything you did for the city of Tampa. Thank you for being our captain. Thank you for leading us to two Stanley Cups. You are a Bolt forever, and you truly you define what Bolt hockey should be. So thank you for that. Moving on, um, we signed a couple minor league players. Also signed Zemgus Girgensson to a 3-year contract, very, very low AAV, which is wonderful. We signed Emil Lilleberg to a 2-year one-way contract, which is great. He's going to be up in the NHL. Loved what he brought to the team last year. Also signed right winger Cam Atkinson to a 1-year contract. Very, very low AAV as well. Very low risk. Um, Trying to get him to play second line wing, which is wonderful. And we also agreed to terms with defenseman Victor Hedman to a 4-year contract extension. I like that a lot. Um, we'll see how it ages with the cap, but for now, seems like a pretty good signing. Um, Victor Hedman was also named the captain after Stamkos left. Um, Nobody else should have even been considered for that. It obviously was going to be Hedman if Stamkos ever left or when Stamkos retired or whatever it might have been. Hetty was the guy. Obviously, in the 2020 Stanley Cup run, um, Stammer was injured, so Hetty basically took over the captaincy on the ice for the most part. Um, so wonderful to see him finally get his opportunity to wear the C and be the number one leader on our team and the guy that everybody can look up to. Um, we also signed JJ Moser to a 2-year contract, obviously the guy that we acquired in exchange for Mikhail Sergachev. Um, so I think that pretty much does it for offseason stuff. Obviously we lost like Matt Dumba, stuff like that, but nothing major. Um, so we'll get into fast forward now back to Oh my God, when was the game? On Friday, the 11th, when the Lightning traveled to Carolina. They traveled there early, obviously, with Hurricane Milton coming in and unfortunately hitting Tampa pretty bad, but not as bad as it was supposed to be, thankfully. So, anyone from Tampa listening, I pray that you guys are all okay and that everyone is, kind of recovering and everyone's getting power back and, rebuilding shouldn't, what I wish was never destroyed. Um, they also had to cancel, or sorry, postpone their home opener, which was originally slated for October 12th. Um, Had to postpone that due to Hurricane Milton. So now their home opener is October 15th at 7 p.m. versus the Vancouver Canucks, which is very exciting. I can't wait to see them at home. Um, but on the 11th, they played the Carolina Hurricanes. Um, Pretty okay game. Our power play had a lot of opportunities, went 2 for 6 in the power play. Um, Both are the only two goals that we scored that were not empty net goals. So that's a little scary. Penalty kill was perfect. Uh, Killed off all four of our penalties that we took. Not bad. Our face-offs were okay, 47%, not terrible. Um, Block shots, 19 block shots to I think that McDonough coming back is going to help that category of things a lot, which is great. Anyway, first period, um, you know, was okay. Um, ended the first period down 1-0. Goal came at 14:32 of the first period from Jordan Stahl, assisted from William Carrier. Um, Nothing special. I mean, it's early, right? So I'm not going to expect perfection by any means from anybody, but I think that we looked pretty good um for it being the first game. Second period power play goal, as I said, comes 2:33 in the second period, ties the game at 1. Comes from Braden Point, assisted from Kucherov and Hedman on the power play. Obviously, power play was something I was concerned about after Stammer leaving. Stamkos was a power play merchant, if you will. So great to see that our power play is or is getting some success. Ties the game at 1. Second period, 1-1. Third period, 11:06. Nikita Kucherov on the power play with a absolute missile past Freddie Anderson, assisted from Victor Hedman and Nick Paul. Um, Loved that. Loved that shot. Cooch was fired up too. And then ended up 17:53, scoring his second of the game, empty net goal coming from Gensel. So first career point for the Lightning. Hopefully, many many more to come on his 7-year contract. And Eric Chernak getting his first point. Nice to see him on the board. And actually, 1944, Cooch was just chilling out at the blue line, the opposing blue line. Gensel found him. Uh, Cooch got a hat trick in his first game. Now, am I excited about it? Of course. Sixth career hat trick for Cooch. However, two empty net goals. You know, all right, fine. Hat trick. Hat trick's a hat trick, but, two empty net goals, nothing to be too excited about. Oh my God, Cooch got a hat trick. Like, okay, but two were freebies. So, his third goal comes from Hedman and Gensel. So, great way to start the season. 4-1. Love it. I think that Vazzy played well. Everyone was concerned last year. Oh, Vazzy's washed. Vazzy's not going to be that good. Vazzy had back surgery, so Vazzy's not going to play last year like he did because he didn't have a training camp. He didn't have, he had to go right into games, and expect to be the guy and be successful right away because it's Andrei Vasilevsky. Um, but I'm very excited for this year. Very optimistic. Unfortunately, I'm still looking for Mikhail. I always will look for Mikhail in Bolt Blue, but um, and same thing for Stamkos. Nobody should ever wear the number 91 again, and I don't think anybody will for the Lightning. Same thing with Hetty whenever that time comes. But obviously, we're not going to get anywhere near that for a while, hopefully, right, Julian? You just signed him to a 4-year contract, but you also signed Mikhail to an 8-year contract just a couple years ago and traded him right before his no movement clause went in. So doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's besides the point. That's just me being a bitter fan. But I'm optimistic for this season. I don't know why I have a really good feeling about it. Connor Geeky, very, very happy that he made the team, and I think he's going to be a great piece. Um, a young piece that is needed to bring some young life, some speed back into this team that's aging, and give them a little bit more of a spark to, go back out and win again. Um, so, like I said, game two of the season is tomorrow when I'm posting this, but most of you likely will see this on Tuesday. So, game today or the 15th, whenever you're listening to this, against the Vancouver Canucks at 7 p.m. home opener. Very, very excited. Um, yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna try to do as many of these as I possibly can. Might not be every every game or every, whatever, but at least once a week I'm gonna try to get on here and do this. I miss it a lot, and I'm very happy that I'm able to, kind of do this. Um, if you want to, please share this with everybody. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, literally wherever you get your podcasts. And also follow me on Instagram at Sheer Strikes. That'd be greatly appreciated. Like I said, I'm an aspiring sports journalist, and please, obviously, any feedback you can, of course, reach out to me, DM me, whatever. Um, so that being said, very excited for the 2024-2025 season, and as always, go Bolts.